Many organizations have spoken out since the leaked Supreme Court draft opinion overturning Roe v. Wade, including GLAAD. That's the world's largest LGBTQ media advocacy organization. They say, quote, the attack on Roe v. Wade is an assault on, quote, all Americans, especially those of us in marginalized communities. President and CEO of GLAAD, Sarah Kate Ellis, joins me now. Sarah Kate, abortion restrictions also impact, obviously, women, pregnant people across the spectrum, and the rest of us in many ways. But awareness of that is often ignored or unknown to a lot of people. Break this down for us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Abortion is an LGBTQ issue because LGBTQ people can get pregnant and do start families. So anyone who can get pregnant or have a family is affected by abortion. And I think that, what we're seeing is what's at play here is bodily autonomy, control over your own body. And we've been fighting back over 250 anti-LGBTQ pieces of legislation that have been introduced over this past year. And more than half of them are about body autonomy, is about this sacred relationship between a doctor and their patient. And this is where the government is trying to get involved with our bodies and our relationships with our doctors. We're seeing it against trans youth. We're seeing it against women and cis and trans people across the board. So abortion is very much an LGBTQ issue.
And Sarah Kate, if I can ask you about the opinion itself, Justice Alito says in his opinion, draft opinion, which if the court adopted would be law of the land, of course, that a right that isn't specified in the Constitution, or as he says, quote, deeply rooted in our nation's history and traditions, doesn't qualify as a constitutional right. He says it should only apply to abortion because he says the stakes are so high in abortion. But the argument, look, there weren't many gay marriages when they wrote the Constitution. And even I remember I was covering the court when the case of Lawrence versus Texas came down, which decriminalized intimate relations between same-sex people. Also, something that was commonly considered a crime in our history and tradition. How concerned are you? How concerned are gay people, people of all different backgrounds, by what Justice Alito is doing here?
Yeah, the LGBTQ community is on absolutely high alert right now. There is a direct line between Roe v. Wade and Obergefell, which is the decision for marriage equality. Our rights in this country as LGBTQ people are specifically protected by the 9 justices that sit on the Supreme Court between marriage equality and employment protections. And the rest of the protections that we have are a patchwork across states. So Roe is actually part of the foundation that Obergefell was built off of this idea of privacy that we have in our lives for our intimate, private relationships. And so now that this is being unwound, this is a 50-year-old law that we have had in this country. Marriage equality isn't even 10 years old. It's not even a decade old yet, and they're unwinding Roe. So we feel from the LGBTQ community that all of our rights and protections are at risk. There are 6 justices on that court that would happily walk us all back into the closet and silence us. So this is all hands on deck.
And I note that the last time the Republican Party wrote a platform in 2016, they called for the overruling of 2 Supreme Court precedents, one, Roe versus Wade, the other, Obergefell, which established the right for gay people to be married in this country. And that is of concern to all who care about that. On another note, and a happier note, let's get to a happier note. I guess I saw GLAAD praised the appointment of Karine Jean-Pierre as the new White House press secretary. There she is with Jen Psaki. She's making history as the first black and openly LGBTQ person to fill the role. And she's attending the 33rd annual GLAAD Media Awards tonight in New York City. So what's the significance of her appointment?
Well, what we know at GLAAD, it's the basis of why we exist, is that representation matters. When you can see yourself, you can dream of what you can be one day. And so having the first openly LGBTQ and the first Black woman in this high level position is so important. It shows so many young women, young LGBTQ people, young people of color, that they can dream these big dreams as well. This is an incredible role. And Karine Jean-Pierre is also a brilliant communicator. And so we are just beyond thrilled that we are seeing this representation. It also plays to the Biden administration. The Biden administration has kept to its word about increasing LGBTQ support and representation in terms of diversity and inclusion. And so we're seeing the fruits of the labor of this administration. And we track that through the Biden accountability tracker, where we monitor how the administration is doing in supporting the LGBTQ community. And this is a great move, because here you have someone who is incredibly talented, the top of her game, and also happens to be LGBTQ and a woman of color.
Representation, as if we can see ourselves in so many ways. All of us, each of us in different ways, maybe the job gets done a little bit better. Let me ask you about the 33rd Annual GLAAD Media Awards in New York, where you will take place, where it will take place, and what can we expect?
I think you're going to see a night tonight of excitement and joy, and then also protest and galvanizing our community. We have a big fight ahead of us. We're in the midst of a pretty major culture war. So I think this night, we're honoring Judith Light, we're honoring Wilson Cruz, these people who have been at it with our community for decades, supporting our community, speaking out for our community. There's going to be some surprise moments. We're having Dove Cameron perform, Michael R. Jackson from A Strange Loop, which is a new musical on Broadway about a Black queer man and his journey. So it's going to be a really fun, exciting, and purposeful night.
That's great. Well, congratulations. And Sarah Kate Ellis, thanks very much for joining us on these important issues. Appreciate it.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.